Hi, I'm Coach Amber, and welcome to the Meet RX Success Story Podcast. And today we have Sara with us. Welcome, Sara.
Hi,
How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right.
Awesome. So, Sara, let's hear a little bit about what your life was like prior to starting a meat-based diet. Were you having any health issues or anything out of the ordinary?
So my life before carnivore is very a little complex, and you'll see what I mean in a second. So before I had really too many health issues, I've been doing keto for about 3 years prior. I started to doing that to help lose weight, and also I did have endometriosis, which for those of you who don't know what that is when the tissues that line your uterus grow outside of your uterus, and it can be very painful. And it unfortunately had caused about 6 years of infertility between my husband and I. So I started keto doing that, and that actually really did help me a lot. I lost a ton of weight, about 70 pounds. My endometriosis I was virtually pain-free. And unfortunately, I still was not getting pregnant, but just the fact that I was pain-free was just a miracle in itself, because it could be very devastating to deal with that on a daily basis. So I did keto for about 3 years, and about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I ended up going to the emergency room for something really stupid. But anyway, I needed an IV, and I ended up getting an IV infiltration in my arm, which is when the fluid from the IV actually goes into your muscle tissue. They messed up going into the vein, and it swelled up my arm on my left side. Yeah, it was crazy, but so that the trauma of that ended up it triggered this response in my body called complex regional pain syndrome, which is a chronic pain condition that is your central nervous system is basically on a never-ending loop of pain due to a trauma to your body. And it's a very rare condition. It happens mostly in females, but I was unfortunately the lucky one to have that happen to me. So I ended up getting complex regional pain syndrome, and that it completely changed my life. I went from being a person who was pretty active. I mean, I exercised probably 5 days a week. I lifted weights, I ran. I'm not the fittest person in the world, but for me, in my life, I was very fit for me. And it completely changed my life. I ended up not being able to exercise anymore. The chronic pain was on a daily pain scale of like 7 to 10. Which completely limited my activities. I was going to school full time before I got it, and I ended up having to drop out of school because I couldn't concentrate on schoolwork anymore. And then after that, I ended up going to a series of doctors, most of who they either prescribed me pain medication or a series of other medications that I really wasn't comfortable using. I have a family of drug addiction I have a history of drug addiction in my family, and I just didn't want anything to do with pain medication, especially since it's a chronic pain condition and I would be on it like forever. So I really wasn't a fan of doing that. I ended up going to physical therapy. I ended up going to just a therapist. I had a series of nerve blocks done. The medications that I did try taking ended up giving me really, really bad side effects as far as like memory loss, suicidal thoughts, and made me gain a ton of weight back that I was so happy I had finally lost. So basically it wasn't working. So I was going through that, and then last December, I actually ended up, I was also keto throughout the whole thing. I say keto. Despite me gaining all that weight back, I was still sticking true to that because I was like, if nothing else, I want to at least make sure that I'm metabolically as healthy as I can be. And that was at the time how I knew how to do it. So anyway, in last December, I actually finally became pregnant, which was a miracle in itself because I didn't think I was going to be able to become pregnant. I had to come off my medications for CRPS that I was on because of them having bad side effects. And that just kind of gave me a lot of pain. Like a lot of the pain had come back. I ended up unfortunately miscarrying in January. So that was pretty devastating. And then I think the trauma of that miscarriage, due to also not being on any medications anymore, just sent my body into like a huge pain flare that lasted for probably about a month and a half straight. It was completely miserable. It just wasn't fun at all. I made a doctor's appointment to go back to my pain doctor, which actually happened to be in New Jersey, which I live in Missouri. My husband's in the Air Force, so this is where we're stationed. And my pain doctor is in New Jersey because he's a really great doctor who specializes in complex regional pain syndrome. So I made that appointment, and then the coronavirus happened and all travel stopped. So yeah, we weren't allowed to go anywhere, especially being military. We had extra travel restrictions put on us, so I wasn't going anywhere. So I was kind of at that point where I was just at a loss. I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know where to turn. And because I had been keto for so long, I had heard about the carnivore diet. I actually had given it a month try, probably about 2 years prior, just to see, what it was about. And I felt great then. And I went back to keto just because it was easy. My husband was doing keto. It just was easier for me at the time. But knowing about carnivore, and I've read so many success stories about how people have, with autoimmune issues have seen help, and just people who have all these diagnoses that doctors just tell them that there's no cure for, no help for, have actually seen improvement or have been, in remission or cured. So I told my husband, I was like, I'm just going to do this. I'm like, I have really nothing else to lose at this point. Like, I'm miserable. And I decided to go for it. And I went all in. I went all into it. And I've been carnivore for about 6 months now.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when I've never heard of that issue before. So that's very interesting. It sounds
very
horrible.
rare.
So sorry about that.
It is not fun.
No, I can't even imagine.
I used to have issues even. One thing I forgot to mention too is that it started in my left arm, but it actually traveled down the whole left side of my body and eventually became a full body issue. It became so difficult that I had a hard time standing for like more than 10 minutes at a time. It was really bad. I was very depressed. I couldn't do much of anything. It was terrible. So
I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you started carnivore, how did you implement the diet? Like, what were you eating, and what did you, make allowances for, if you will? And did you fast? Did you have any transitional issues? Anything like that?
So, as far as fasting goes, because I had done keto for so long, fasting had also been a part of just my lifestyle. I was used to eating 2 meals a day at that point, really. But implementing the diet, I eat mostly beef. It's not because I really just crave it more than anything else. Like, I eat all animal products except for honey, but I eat chicken, fish, pork. But like, I really like my body when I'm really hungry, I just want like either a really good steak or just a burger or something like that. Like, I also eat dairy, and I use seasonings. And very occasionally, if it's like a special occasion, I'll get mushrooms and onions on my burger, which doesn't bother me. That's pretty much the extent of my veggie train right there. But for the most part, I eat a lot of steaks, a lot of burgers. My husband and I have multiple smokers, so we use those on a daily basis, or we grill. That's pretty much all we eat. And my husband isn't carnivore, like technically, but he eats a very heavy meat-based diet and kind of does whatever he wants once in a while when he's off on his own. But when we're home, he eats what I eat. So I would say he's 80% carnivore with me. Yeah.
I love it. Did you have any transitional issues at all? I mean, you were keto, so.
Yeah, not as much, I think, because I had been keto for so long, not as much. I mean, I would say that I had a little bit of stomach upset for about a week, but it really wasn't anything too severe. And it was something that I also knew going in, things that to look for. And I know that things like maybe increasing your salt a little bit might help, and or adjusting your fat ratio to protein. Like, I already knew those things. So I didn't really have a hard time adjusting to it. And also when I was keto, not even intentionally, but I was already very meat-based keto because that's just how I felt better. Like I started off, when I first started keto, I started very dirty keto. And then when by the time I was ending, I was basically carnivore with like a couple of vegetables still mixed in there. So it really wasn't a hard transition for me. Oh, I also do drink coffee with heavy cream, but I'm pretty sure most carnivores can't give up their coffee.
Oh, that's a trigger subject. I'm just going to tell you, boy, you don't mess with their coffee. No, no, no.
Yeah.
It's funny how many people hang on to that. And I know what you mean, though, but that coffee with cream, ugh, so good. Yeah. Okay, so since this is a success story, I have to assume that you have had some success in the healing and all the issues you were going through, some kind of improvement. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So as far as my complex regional pain syndrome, I have put myself into remission in the 6 months that I've been doing carnivore. Like I said, my daily pain before was between a 7 to 10 every day. The flares are at a 10. They can last days for long. Now my pain is between a 0 and a 2. Most days I'm not in any pain at all, which is a miracle. I feel like my old self again. I'm able to go out and do the things that I used to love to do. I've started to exercise again. Nothing as intense as I was doing because I'm easing myself back into it. I'm very cautious just because of everything I've gone through. But just the fact that I can exercise again is just such a miracle to me. If I do have a pain flare, it's usually something as far as like maybe a 5. And I can usually take CBD oil and it be gone like within an hour, which is amazing. I'm not on any medications anymore. I don't plan on going back on any medications as long as this keeps working for me. So I'm just going strong with what I'm doing. And which is another miracle is that I was offered a full-time job during COVID where I can work from home full-time forever. And so I can now hold a full-time job because I'm not in pain anymore, which is a huge load off my husband's shoulders because we were a one-income family for so long. And it's just so nice to be able to contribute again. As far as my endometriosis, I'm in significantly less pain with that. But, and here's my big surprise that I have not told anybody but my family yet, is that I am pregnant again after only 1 month of trying. So my husband and I could not be more ecstatic about that. Like, it took 6 years of trying the first time, over 6 years to get pregnant. And within 1 month of deciding to try again, we got pregnant. So I think that like we both contribute that to carnivore. I feel like my body has just really just healed itself in a way that I've never experienced before. So I'm just so thankful for that.
Oh, Sara, I'm so happy for you. I can like do a dance. I can just hug you. I'm so happy.
I know.
Yay.
I'm 8 weeks now, and we have our first ultrasound coming up this week. So we're so excited.
That is amazing.
And hopefully my friends who watch this video later when it posts, this will be their surprise.
I love it. I'm
looking forward to their seeing. Yeah. But besides that, great news. Those 2 really great things. I mean, I've had hair regrowth. I have tons of baby hair on the front of my head that I cannot get to stay down, but I'm so thankful for them. I'm really happy that they're there. I've lost some weight. I know that some people with carnivore have their weight loss is slower than others. Mine has definitely been slower, and I contribute that to the fact that my body was just so broken after all the things that was going on that I think my body was just truly just trying to heal itself before anything else. So I mean, I've lost about 10 pounds. I'm hoping to lose more, but I'm the slow and steady wins the race. I'm not in a rush. The fact that I feel better is just, honestly, that's enough for me to stick with it. My skin is clearer. I sleep better. My anxiety and depression have lifted, which is amazing. Like, I no longer feel like I have to go see a therapist for all the anxiety and the depression that the CRPS brought on in my life. Like, I just feel happy again, which anybody who knows me my whole life, I'm a very happy, optimistic person. And that was a very dark time in my life. So to be able to have that back is it's just really made a world of difference for me. So yeah, I'm very happy. I plan to continue with carnivore for the foreseeable future. So
That's awesome, Sarah. Your story is amazing, and you just radiate with this happiness, and it's so exciting. Congratulations on the
thank you.
pregnancy. That's so exciting, along with everything else. And I'm so happy you're not in pain anymore. That's
Me too.
awesome. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for joining us and sharing that story and that very, very special news.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. That seriously
Thank
made my
you.
day.
Good.
And thanks for coming on, seriously. And you have a wonderful day.
You too.
Bye, Sarah.
Bye.